So, Lauren here from TBFM Magazine, here with Vinnie Paul. Hello, welcome to Manchester.
Great to be in Manchester.
So, obviously you've done a couple of dates with HellYeah so far. How have the dates been so far?
They've been great. We've been over here for a month. We did a bunch of dates in Germany. We did some shows in Hungary, Italy, Belgium. All those were before we came over to the UK. And then we did Bloodstock, which was absolutely incredible. That was my favorite festival that I've been a part of in a long time.
Is it?
And I played just about every festival you can play over here, and that was really great.
What was it you loved about Bloodstock then?
It was one of those festivals where everything was really focused on metal. All the bands there were metal bands, and most of the festivals are really diverse now over here, whereas that one was just really focused, and it's a little bit smaller than the other ones.
Yeah.
And we headlined the second stage. We had the biggest crowd of the day, and they treated us like Van Halen or something, man. It was really awesome.
Oh, fantastic. Speaking of Van Halen, I was going to ask about some of your influences in your drumming. Obviously, you mentioned Van Halen.
One of my favorites.
So, sort of growing up, aside from Van Halen, who were your main influences on your drumming, first of all?
The first thing that ever made me want to play or listen to hard rock or heavy metal was Kiss.
Yeah.
First record I ever got was Kiss Alive, and it just blew me away. And Peter Criss was one of my favorite drummers. As simple as he is, it was just you could air drum to every song they did, and I just love their music still to this day. I'm a fan. I go and Gene and Paul give me tickets on the front row, and I just stand there and just fucking rock out to them every time I get a chance. We've done a lot of shows with them, which is great too. And then of course, like you said, Van Halen's it was me and my brother's biggest influence in the world. Eddie and Alex Van Halen were such an influence on us, and just love their music. I loved a different kind of truth. It kind of felt like going back to 1978 all over again, which is really cool. And hopefully they'll keep making music. I love them with Sam, and I love them with Dave, man.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, well, which is your favorite? And I'm like, it's Van Halen to me. So
it's all one, isn't it?
Black Sabbath was a huge influence on my life, and then probably the most metal band out of all of them was Judas Priest, man.
Right.
Judas Priest was a huge influence on me and my music, and it was the first tour we ever did in Europe. It was Judas Priest in 1990, the Painkiller tour. Rob Halford came into a place called Rock and Roll Heaven in Toronto, and it was about 12 degrees outside, snowing. It was a Monday night. There was probably 100 people there at this club to see us, and he came in and watched every fucking song. He loved our first record, Cowboys from Hell, that came out, major label debut, and he got up and he did Metal Gods with us and a couple other Priest songs, and 3 days later we got a phone call to our management that Priest wants to take you on tour in Europe. So
Awesome.
we did our first major tour with Judas Priest over here, and they hated us. It was pretty shocking. We were here for 3 months, and we had one hotel room that whole 3 months. We shared a bus with a band called Annihilator, who was pretty big at the time. And we would go and play, and people would stand there and look at us like this. Most T-shirts we ever sold was 12 in San Sebastian, Spain. And it was every night, annulator. And I was like, God, they hate us. We're never going back to Europe. And then we put Vulgar Display of Power out in 1992, and all of a sudden our manager calls us up and says, Megadeth wants y'all to go on tour with them in Europe. We're like, no fucking way. They fucking hate us there. They hate us there, we're not going. And he's like, no, really, there's a big buzz on the band. I was like, no way, we just finished a year ago over there and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And so he twisted our arm and we came over. Literally, it was like we were co-headlining a bill with Megadeth. I mean, the fans were there to see us just as much as them, and it was a great tour. It was an awesome tour, and things went on to bigger and better things from there.
Yeah.
How does it feel that those guys are now your peers? Because obviously, you grew up with them, but now they're your peers, you get mentioned in the same sentences as
we're all
in
friends.
press. And
we're all friends now. That's the cool thing. When you're younger and you look up and Rob Halford's this fucking metal guy that's this high up, and then a few years later you're on the same stage with him and you're sitting next to him in catering, and you find out he's just a real person like you are, and getting to go tour with Kiss. We did a reunion tour in '97 in South America. I remember it was my birthday on March 11th, and Kiss was in first class, and we were in business class. We were flying from Mexico City to Santiago, Chile, and about 2 hours into the flight, all 4 of them came back into our class and handed me the brand new history book that was 200 pages long with all their autographs on it, a drum head that they'd all signed with all their guitar picks on it, and they sang Happy Birthday to Me in 4-part harmony.
Oh.
And I mean, I had tears coming out of my eyes. I was just like shaking all over. It was like, are you fucking kidding me? My favorite. Yeah, they're singing Happy Birthday to Me, you know, and then they go hire Paul Rackman, the video director that did our early Mouth for War videos and stuff like that, to do their videos because they really liked what he did with us. Just crazy shit like that. So it's all good, but we're all people, you know. That's the most beautiful thing about it.
So who do you like sort of at home, you know, when you're not on the road and things like that? Who do you like to rock out to? Sort of the new breed of bands, obviously.
I go to shows all the fucking time, man. I mean, I'll never let go of the classic stuff that I love. You know, like.
So you still want to jam like the slower stuff as well,
Yeah. But you know, getting to go see Slipknot's a fucking nut getter for me. You know, I mean, any of the bands that are out, I like to go see a variety of everything. I love entertainment. You know, that's why I bought a house in Las Vegas. So you know, I still have my place in Dallas, but I go there and it's like there's something to do every night. There's bands to go see. There's all kinds of great entertainers there. So I just like the entertainment value, period. Just like I said, I went to that comedy club last night, knowing nothing about it, but I wasn't going to sit around in my hotel room. I wanted to go do something, you know.
So with the live music scene, there's sort of a school of people who think that the live music scene's dying, you know, because people sort of sit and they watch the videos at home and YouTube and things like that. Obviously, from what you've said, you don't really believe that's the case. What would you say to people that...
I think live music is all we have left. You know, I mean, that's the way I feel about it. As an artist, you know, you don't make any money from selling records. You don't make any money from really anything, and all that can be stolen from you. And like you said, they can get a DVD and watch you at home.
Yeah.
But it does not have the same energy and impact as being there and feeling the music and sweating and bumping into people and the lights and the sound and the energy. You can't recreate that anyway. I mean, you know, everything else they can duplicate, steal, and take, and the live show to me is the last thing we got left. You know,
gives you the buzz.
Yeah. How does it make you feel with people? Obviously, people can quite easily steal your music now. You know, you can get an MP3 off YouTube quite easily and things like that. Are you happy that people are still listening to your music, or is there a little bit of it that stings? The fact that actually,
you know, I got to experience both sides of it. You know, back in the day when you sold records and people actually held them and they were records and they looked at them when I was a kid and it was exciting. And then this day and age when, you know, if you manage to sell 100,000 records, that's like a platinum record now. That's really weak, you know, when people come out and, you know, we sold nearly 20,000 units the first week our record came out. We made it to number 18 in Billboard. Back in 1995, that wouldn't even get you close to the top 200.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. So it's a pretty easy analogy for me. I mean, if McDonald's started giving away hamburgers for free, how long are they going to be in business? They're going to be out of business like that. And who's going to get in line to fucking make those hamburgers? Because they're not getting paid to give them away for free. You know, and people have a hard time wrapping that around music, but it was really the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's changed a lot. Do you
think it'll come full circle?
Not unless they find a way to stop digital downloading, you know, which is probably never going to happen because they would have figured it out by now.
Like vinyl's coming back now and people are obviously
well, you know, it'd be cool if they would only put it out on vinyl, but somebody's going to take that vinyl and record it on that and then burn it on a disc, so it's the same fucking thing, just the audio quality. So it's good.
How do you listen to your music?
I like it all different ways, man. I mean, honestly, record players and analog music sounds so much better to me and always will. And not a lot of people always can tell the difference because people are so used to digital now. But I remember when it went from analog to people starting to use digital, that engineers and people in bands really knew the difference. You know, I mean, you can feel it. There's not as much low end. It's not as deep. There's not as much depth in the music. You know, if you put on like Moving Pictures by Rush and put it on that and listen to it through a CD or an MP3 or something, and then you put it on a fucking record player and I mean, it sounds like you're in a fucking church. I mean, it's just huge and wide. When he goes around the drums, they go like this, and the vocal sounds like it's right here, and there's all kinds of spacing in the music. You know, it's really different, man. I really miss that.
How involved do you get in the recording process for HellYeah then, with the equipment used?
Everything.
And are you very much like, well, I would like this equipment to be used?
Yep. I produced or co-produced all the records we've been a part of. I've engineered on all of them, and you know, it's my way of being more than just a drummer. You know? It makes me a producer. You know, I'm involved in the arrangements and the way songs are put together and certain transitions from this and that and the other. And it's important to be a part of all that.
So how does the process work for me? Obviously, you've done 4 albums now. How's the process evolved from when you made your first album to now? And obviously, there's been a lot of change in the time. But
first album to now, well, like I said, the biggest change is, you know, back in the day, you had to go in the studio, you had to be really good at getting sounds, you had to be really good at playing, and you had to sing and do everything. Nowadays, you got this button called copy and paste. What if you get it right one fucking time? Wow. Copy it, paste it, we'll use it there, and if you don't get it right, don't worry about it. I'll go in there, Pro Tools the fuck out and do something with it. You know, back then, you really had to be good at what you did. That's why I think bands like Journey and Heart and stuff like that they're like timeless almost, because they were so good. You know, and bands today don't have to be that good. They really don't. People don't work that hard at their skill and their trade like they did back then, you know. I mean,
not so much for craft.
Yeah. It's like anybody can do it, you know. Especially if you want to go to a hip hop level. Yeah. Just start a fucking drum machine and start rhyming, and all of a sudden you could be the next Eminem or something. You know?
So do you still use the old school methods when you're recording, or are you a bit that's Pro Tools?
A little bit. I mean, you gotta obviously catch up with the times, you know. Yeah. But a lot of the techniques that I used back then, as far as miking techniques on the drums and vintage gear, I still use a lot of that. But you can't find a studio with a 2-inch tape machine. They don't even make 2-inch tape anymore. You know? No. So it's like nearly. I think the last 2-inch tape recorded record was probably that last Foo Fighters record. You know. I mean,
Western Light, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know. So, and they had a problem finding enough tape to make that record. You know?
Yeah. So, with things like that, do you think it's gimmicky? Like obviously Foo Fighters didn't put bits of the tape out in the CDs and things like that. Do you think it's a genuine love for things like that?
No, Dave Grohl's a real motherfucker.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you that was genuine, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about right now. You know? I mean, he's a big fan of analog and old school stuff, big time.
Definitely. So with your the sort of evolution from your first album to now, talk to me a bit about the journey musically that you've been on, rather than personally.
I just, you know, obviously being in Pantera, I was part of one of the most influential heavy metal bands in the world.
Just
you know,
slightly.
You know, we kept the heavy metal flag waving high when everybody said the word heavy metal was uncool.
Yeah.
And I moved on to Damageplan with my brother, and I think that band was, in a way, kind of ahead of its time with where we were going with it musically. Unfortunately, everybody wanted Pantera Part 2, so it made it much more of a difficult road for us.
Yeah. And
then, you know, obviously with the horrible thing that happened to my brother, it changed my life drastically, and I didn't know if I'd ever be a part of music again or not, you know. And we had recorded this record with a country artist, David Allan Coe, which was the first true collaboration with an outlaw heavy metal band, outlaw country artist. And it was called Rebel Meets Rebel, and it was really important to my brother, and he wanted people to hear it. And after about 8 or 9 months after what happened, I kind of was trying to get my bearings and figuring out where I was going next, and I was like, I got to get this record out for my brother. People want to hear it, you know. And then I got that out, started my own label, put it out with that. I did a record called Seventh Void with Johnny and Kenny from Typo Negative, which was really great. I don't know if anybody ever heard it, but I love that record, man. It's just so dark and sludgy and heavy. And then, you know, Chad and Tom started calling me one day and saying, hey, we're going to put a band together, you know. We thought you'd be the perfect drummer. And I'm, no fucking way, man. I'm not ready to do this shit yet. But thanks for thinking of me, man. Just hung up the phone. They were really persistent. They called me for about 2 weeks straight. A time or two a day, you know. Hey, man, you thought about this anymore? Yeah, man, it sounds cool. I don't know. And then about 2 weeks into it, you know, they called me. I was cleaning my house and doing some stuff, and drinking some red wine. I remember this clear because I usually drink vodka. And I had Kiss on about 12, and they called me, and I had a nice little buzz. I said, you know what? I'll never know if I'll be able to do this again or not if I don't give it a shot, man. You guys come on down to Texas, and let's see what happens. And about a week later, they all flew to Texas, and we had a meeting at my house. Found out we had a lot in common. We really liked each other. Loved the same kind of things in music. Loved to drink. Loved to barbecue. We fucking tore it up the next day. We went down to the studio, wrote the first song we ever wrote together called Nausea, because that's kind of how we were all feeling at the time. And from that point on, HellYeah was born, man. And so I've been totally dedicated to it since then. That's
Definitely.
where I'm at now.
Do you think that if they haven't been quite so persistent, you know, if they just run games and said, no, I'm not ready, do you think things would be different for you today?
Well, I knew I still had a passion for music. I
Yeah.
love playing music, and I missed it a lot. But I told myself if I was going to do it, it was going to have to fall in my lap and almost be an accident. And that's kind of what happened with this, you know. And so, you know, can't change the way things are, and so I'm not going to say, well, you know, maybe I would have gone. You know, this is the only thing I really know how to do. This and producing music, you know. So I'm just glad it worked out. You
Yeah.
know, it happened.
Definitely. You mentioned about your record label, Big Bin Records. So, what was your driving force for setting up your own label?
That record that my brother and I had done with David Allan Coe, I took it to the people at Warner Music and said, hey, you know, this is really important. My brother always wanted to put this out. I need you guys to put this out for me. And they called me back the next day and they go, man, we don't know what to do with this. And I'm like, what do you mean? They go, well, we don't know if we're going to be able to market this to country people or metal people or what, and we just don't want to release it on our label. And I was like, you know what? I got an idea. I know what to do with it. I'll start my own record company, you know. So I started my own label, and that's really what got me into it. And I learned a lot more about the business.
Yeah.
And was on the other side of the fence of what an artist was like, and it ain't so much fun on that side of the fence, trust me. It's a lot of fucking work, man.
What would you say to the upcoming bands that they've got the creative side, but they maybe haven't got the business side? Like you say, you've seen it from the other side.
Well,
how would you sort of encourage them to get that business experience? Because you kind of need to do it alone.
Yeah, well, it's called the music business
Yeah.
for a reason. We all love the music but hate the business. But if you don't get involved in the business side of it, you know, you'll never have anything.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be able to take care of that side of the music business. You know, it's very, very important to learn about it and to be involved in it. You know, so many people get fucked.
Yeah,
massively.
massively.
They don't even know what publishing is. You know, I mean, our first record deal we ever had, Atlantic Records wanted all the publishing. They wanted 100%. And at that time, you know, being 25 years old and not knowing anything, I was just like, you know what? They get my publishing. I don't care. It's sheet music. That's what I thought it was. You know, publishing. I figured sheet music. No, that's your royalties. That's where everything.
That's everything.
You know, and so we had to fight to get all that back, and you really do have to learn that side of it. You know, I mean, everybody's so passionate about the music side, which is the reason why we do it, but you gotta learn that other side too. It's just like being an athlete. You know, I mean. You gotta have a good sports agent. You gotta have a good lawyer. You know, I mean, even though you love going out and playing football or baseball or rugby or whatever it is, you know, if you don't have somebody there to look at your financial side, you know, you're gonna end up fucked up.
Yeah, massively. So with the albums at the moment, what's next? Sort of, and obviously you're touring Blood for Blood at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Are you writing new material on the
No,
road,
man.
or are you? I know sometimes.
I mean, we worked hard on that fucking record.
You're just gonna
it just came out
and
in
celebrate
June.
it.
Yeah, it's been out for 2 months, and it's done really well in the United States and Canada. We actually just before we came over here finished a tour over there with Avenged Sevenfold, which was very successful. It was an awesome tour. We're getting a little break after this. And then we're going right back to a big tour in the United States with Five Finger Death Punch and Volbeat, which is already sold out everywhere. It's arenas. It's going to be really big, really good. And then all next year we plan on touring, probably till after the summer. We plan on coming back to Europe, doing another full tour over here, hopefully do all the major festivals, download and all that stuff. And then we'll start thinking about the next record.
Yeah.
You know, but right now we got quite a bit of touring to do.
Yeah.
This record to me is, you know, still just as fresh as it was the day we finished it, man.
Yeah. So I'm just conscious of time because I know you've got things to do. So if you could sum up HellYeah for me in 3 words for people that maybe haven't come across you yet. 3 words.
3 words. Alright. HellYeah is the real deal. So
The real
there
deal.
you go.
I like
The
it.
real deal. You know, I mean, we started this band for the reason why we all start playing music, because we love playing music and being together. And
Yeah.
after being in a band as big as Pantera, Mudvayne, or any of that stuff, it turns into a business, like what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And the friendships and all the stuff like that, you know, get sideways, and it's not what it used to be, you know. And so we've really focused on keeping this band a friendship and a brotherhood, and all that comes number one. And then, of course, we take care of the business side of it. But it's the real fucking deal, you know. It's not, we don't fake anything, you know. There's not anything that's contrived about it. It's real, and that's why we love doing it.
Thank you so much for your time, Vinnie. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.